Vote, but not fet. Tell you politician, I dey vote, but I not dey fet.
We go vote, we no go faint. Hope for you to pass in this information. Yeah. Waterloo chapter. Listen. Me a go vote and no go fet, yeah. Because me voting and me right, yeah. Me a go vote and no go fet, yeah. Because me voting and me right, yeah. The youth them let we stay away from violence. Get the vibes, get the feeling, yeah. The youth them let we stay away from violence, yeah. You vote now you right. You vote now you right, Hope for you, say. You vote now you right. You vote now you right, Go vote, full sit down now you host. We no want no ding 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 ding. We want no bling 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 bling. Conscious time when we on the surge, yeah. Hope for you, million questions.
Family, una good evening. I hope say una dey do well. I hope life is treating you well wherever you find yourself. Whether na morning time to you, whether na sun time to you, whether na evening time to you, whether na night to you. Well, today, as we sit down here dey talk, we start off from 90 days. But as I sit down here so this evening time, 7 days, 23 hours and 40 minutes to the elections. 7 days, 23 hours and 40 minutes to Sierra Leone votes 2023, to elections 2023, to 24th June 2023. To the electorate, one day we get for vote. I don't know how on a timapo. I don't know how on a day. For me personally, I know so na elect for no I dey drink. Today na antioxidant. I want to for the clean, they clean the system, liberate the system. But whatever you decide to drink, it's all good. Personally, for me, also I miss you don't I so this not a question where I feel say we for the ask. This not a question where I feel say we for ask at this time. Not at all. I think say we don't get election commissioners in, election commissioners out, you don't get the ECSL in, ECSL out. I think there's so much has happened within that institutions that by then 10 years so, then forget best practices, a lot of best practices. Then for know waiting at the absolute no-nos. Then for know why make the electorate or even political parties should not question the way they operate, the way they are moving. But for me, I don't watch the landscape. I don't watch waiting they go on. And the truth is, as a Sierra Leonean, I therefore tell una say, I'm not happy by what I'm seeing. I don't see true faith. I don't see genuineness. I can take me time listen to the press conference or the participation of the current ECSL person, Connie. I listen to a lot of what he says and a lot of what he's doing and how he goes about it and the logic behind it. But certain actions there, especially in this past few days, and make it clear, this is me, I'm not like for talk about something where maybe it happened here, and there. Sometimes people cast aspersions, people and they make allegations and this, that, but they not fully understand how certain machine they work. And you see, the thing is that I no go relate wetin dey happen say na the Western world to wetin dey happen at Salone, because then people will be like, Matilda, you are the first to always say you get for contextualize, you get for be context specific, you get for be sensitive to your geography, you get for be sensitive to the demographic, you get for be sensitive to the culture and this and that and all of them things, and they put together so the way it is done there cannot be exactly replicable over here. So if una notice here, they pick me what them wisely because of that. But however, myself don't do elections observations. Yes, I don't do elections observations. For many years, I don't participate in elections observations. Not only elections observations, I don't work in a polling station as that person where they do that final tally, where they look all the different party, the different candidates, then the different political, do that final tally, write almost, sign them, seal them, and then pass them to the whoever in front of the representations them of all the political party there at the polling station. Go make them see, no, you are satisfied, yes, sign and seal them, send and go, and then send the I also don't then at the position where then sign and seal and send and come to me and watch, and then I communicate the numbers across to the headquarters. So I don't occupy a lot of different roles then. Now elections observation on twice as a matter of fact, I've been selected to do overseas elections observation mission for one or two reasons here and there, because fits squarely in my schedule. I turn them down. But as it is, as I sit down, I also they talk to, and I'm qualified to do, overseas electoral observations. So as somebody we don't work na that milieu day, na that surrounding, they will understand. Not just a little bit, but understand quite a bit. I don't go through all of the different trainings then. I'm a little bit, not in fact a little bit, I'm a lot disappointed as to what I see right now. I'm a lot disappointed as to what I see right now, especially coming from the electoral institution. Now, institution we're supposed to be credible, we're not supposed to act in any way of bias, of sin, of bias. We're supposed to maintain balance. We're supposed to maintain equity. We're supposed to maintain fairness. And I don't want this excuse of, the parts of the world where we come also. Therefore, when we take into account all of the geographic surroundings and all of them thing, and I think say the onus is upon us to do better. The onus is upon us to do well. Yeah. I think say we owe them to we people then. We owe them to the generation yet unborn. We owe them to posterity. So today I ask this question: what game is Ecsl playing? Is Ecsl serving the people or a political party? After a while, we get tired of asking these types of questions, because a similar question was asked about 5 years ago. And that time it was the current party in power in opposition. When we see certain things them when all right, we call them out. And therefore, if where you been there, somebody been team up and call things out for you, where you did it now, no mean for say, if you self continue the same bad thing, somebody not for team up there for call them out. Let us go to the press release by Ecsl today. Today we go take out from the back from the front we go na the back, not from the back go na the front. We go mix them up small bit. Una know for say the main opposition candidate, Dr. Samora Wilson Kamara, been get I don't go call him a press conference. That to me does not the setting, the way the setup did not look like a press conference for me. It looked like a town hall. To me, that setup looked like a town hall to me, even though people did not get to ask questions, but the setup looked like a town hall for me. Where he's saying they address the nation. And inside a address, it talk about some things them where they say waiting don't lead them for can open at the open and do this right now. Now because they don't write severally to the ECSL boss without any acknowledgement or response to their concern. So at this junction, they don't get any choice but for come air out all of their concerns publicly to the general public. There were obviously the dominant crowd. There was APC, stalwarts, APC supporters. Them some I see some diplomatic. The diplomatic corps was present as well. The third estate, the media was there. And when I speak of the media, let me also take this minute right now for decry the violence, the act of aggression that was levied on Umaru Fofana, the journalist Umaru Fofana, by some APC supporters. There is no space for that. There is no space for that. You cannot be asking for one thing and on the other hand, the exact thing you're crying down, you have the temerity to exact it on another person. There's no argument for that one. It was wrong. It was wrong. He's a journalist. He's doing his job. He's a journalist. That's his profession. So whether you like the way we report to, whether you don't like the way we report to, whether you agree with the reporting, whether you don't agree with the reporting, the truth still stands that he's a journalist and he was there to do his job, period. You may not like his approach, that is up to you. But nobody not get right for assault him. From nowhere, from no end. So for the people that will do that and people that will catch that, I hope they will be reprimanded seriously, because there is no place in society for such, beastly behavior. Yes, for such beastly behavior. No place. And people are not for the encourage and tolerate that. And when people then do such thing, they should, they should be reprimanded, seriously be reprimanded. We know they tolerate this kind of nonsense. We sit down and also they talk day in, day out, and don't think you will do such thing and get away with it. People are like, we will talk about them. When you're wrong, you're wrong. When you're right, you're right. Because yes, frustrations are high. Yes, maybe, there is this, there is that, but that still not justify that action. Now make a move on to the ECSL. And so after the main opposition candidates don't do in town hall and don't, by the way, a 25-page list of things them. No, not 25, I tell a lie, 20-page. I have the exact speech here. A 20-page speech where it lists a number of things them where they strongly where them raise as concern. Some of them thing and they, and hopefully we have time in the show to go through it. Some of them thing and they I say I don't separate the thing then. And a fine journalist by the name of Chernobyl, as a matter of fact, he has even made my work lighter tonight, because I don't have to sit and pinpoint my painstaking, my meat area. My meat area, meaning that things that absolutely needs attention, formal attention from the ECSL governing body, and things that I consider, the milk issue. The milk issue, where these are negotiable things. These are things that, one here, there, you can talk about and whatever. But there are things that you cannot talk out that needs to be formally addressed. And then following that today, we also see where the SLPP, the current ruling party, they also make their own town hall. I'll call that a town hall because they may give the microphone to people there for ask questions. And the funny thing is that I would have expected that town hall for be solely centered on how they go run their own situation. But what it turned out to be instead is a systemic, deliberate, rebuttal of waiting the APC presidential candidate address to the ECSL institution. And to this I say, out of place. You are a political party. You are also vying for the same seat. No sign no day wait and say if somebody where they vie for an office, where they run for election, if he gets concerned, those concerns should not be heard or addressed. And it is not upon the ruling government to form her town hall and attempt to address these concerns. No, you people are rivals. The only person that is legalized, the only person that is legitimate to address, wherefore address them concerns they are so, where the opposition party is the ECSL and the ECSL only. So that town hall where the SLPP do again, when people, that is why I'm asking these types of questions. This is why I'm asking this time, because now you see a political party, an incumbent party doing the job of the ECSL. So now there is how they call it, there is no separation of office anymore. Mixing, then they mix, Waiting ECSL for do, they know they do the government they take upon themselves for do the work of the ECSL by addressing or attempting to address the queries of the opposition. In what world? In what world? So now that make I ask this question, say, what game is CCSL playing? Is CCSL serving the people or are they serving a political party? Because immediately the first thing where them for don't do, as a matter of fact, where Dr. Samora Kamara finishing whatever, you take note of in demands because it's in writing. What thing them for don't do this morning first thing is either openly address this concern. Actually, you cannot openly address his concerns without first of all bringing him to the table, ensuring that you have an understanding with him, and then now go together and say these have been cleared. But you know what's even troubling in all of this right now for me as a citizen of Sierra Leone, and wherefore be troubling for all Sierra Leoneans them, is the fact that remember, hey God, ECSL be push the date of the picking up of the registration card them, the voting cards them, the voting ID them, because they give one bogus excuse as to fleet. Where we all know for say anybody we don't work in aviation, anybody we know small thing as to how flight operation mechanism cargo they operate, we know for say the excuse that they gave was bogus. Now, inside the ECSL also say that the ballot paper, the official ballot paper where people for use for this 2023 June 24 election na the 17th of June, then they arrive na Salone. The election is on the 24th. Then say na the 17th of June, na in them paper, then they arrive na Salone, the official ballot paper. So this begs the question, why CCSL on the 14th of June go pull a statement saying that they are now conducting early voting on the 15th. Granted, this was less than 24 hours notice. Less than 24 hours. Not give the people the one whole day, one full day. Less than 24 hours notice. Not only less than 24 hours notice, no formal notification to the contesting political parties. So when I ask this question, what game is CCSL up to? Is CCSL serving the people or a political party? Una bear with me. And this is a question, a question where each and every Sierra Leone, I not care whose political party that they support. Because they say what goes around comes around. But we have been in this circle, this merry-go-round of what goes around comes around, that we have to stop it. We get for cotton. We need to scissors it. We really need for scissors them. And because we need for scissors them, now that make us sit down and so they sit in and ask them questions there. If you as an electoral body, you don't come out and formally say, the official ballot papers that will be used to cast votes will not arrive on the shores of the land till the 17th. Which ballot papers were used for conduct this early voting where you do today? Which ballot paper were used for conduct this early voting way una do today on a less than 24 hours notice to the political parties? How did you go about this? Did you notify the political parties? Did you have an agreement with all of the political parties that we will conduct early voting on the 15th? And can we agree to use this set of ballot papers for the specific goal or for the specific application or act of this early voting? Which agreements them also put in place with the different political parties on how their votes then they will be sealed and contained until the 24th? When the official voting is done and those votes will be counted. Make we go to ACSL and press their own statement for today and we'll work it backwards. So here we go. This is now waiting ACSL pull do today. Now give me 1 second. So it says Electoral Commission Sierra Leone, 15th June 2023, end of poll statement on the conduct of early voting for presidential elections 2023. It says the Electoral Commission for Sierra Leone, in exercise of the powers vested on it by Section 33 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone 1991, Act number 6 of 1991, and pursuant to Section 742 and 171 of the Public Elections Act 2022, Act number 17 of 2022, and the Public Elections Early Voting Regulations 2023, number 3 of 2023, today 15th June 2023, conducted early voting for presidential election 2023 for the Hajj pilgrim who will be traveling to the Holy Land of Mecca to attend pilgrimage. Nothing wrong with that, but did you follow all of the rules and regulations in the constitutions, in the acts to ensure that what you did today was legally done all throughout? Did the act say you have the authority to inform people less than 24 hours ahead of time? Did the act say you are authorized not to officially inform the different contesting political parties so they can rally their people, rally their observers to be in the different polling stations that you have identified? We like for take advantage because by the powers, that word by the powers. But remember, say the word, there are other words that precedes the word by the power. So after you did by the power, the other words then are very important to pay attention, because that is where the meat is of whether what they do is constitutional, illegal, and right. How do you give someone less than 24 hours to rally their people? This is an election, for crying out loud, not to Botskidi, or not to Adai, or not to Gege. This is an election. This is the life of the people. This is how the life of the people go be sustained, or who they govern them, or how their life go turn out for a whole 5 years, according to the constitutional mandate. A whole 5 years. Now they make Botskidi and Adai with. I continue to read. It was reported that polling in all districts went on in a peaceful manner. The elections was observed by political party agents, local and international elections observer, and the media. Political parties that observed the elections were All People's Congress, National Grand Coalition, National Unity and Reconciliation Party, and then which one? Sierra Leone's People Party. It was reported that voting ended at 5 p.m. today, 15th June 2023, in all the polling stations. Counting the ballots for early voting will be done at the last polling station of designated polling centers on Saturday, 24th June 2023, at the close of poll, as published in the Ecsl press release on early voting for presidential election dated 13th June 2023. The Ecsl should be to be contacted on the following telephone number, blah 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 blah. Okay, that's it. That's the end of it. So again, they ask the question, all of the rules them, Ecsl follow them. The political parties them, even the election observers them, according to where you're waiting the information that came, they were scrambling to get to some of these polling stations just so they can observe and see what's in the gun, because they themselves were taken unawares. They themselves were taken unawares. So if we want to do something, let's do it right. Let's do it right. If we are going to do it, let's do it right. But no the cut here, put here, bend here, plit here, make and so. It does not augur well. It does not augur well, because what you do is that you are deliberately building resentment. You are deliberately building resentment by other people, because they feel that you are using your power to exert or to exercise, what's in and color, arbitrary unfairness on them, arbitrary bias on them. But one thing I can say, I'm happy that, as you can see, out of the 13, 13 political parties them, Only few manage to scramble and put themselves together to be able to to pull this off. It shouldn't be so. It should not be so. It should, people have limited resources. People manage their resources. People and they cut them cut according to their size. Not because some political parties not get the state resources that the current political party is now using to go about, propagating and funding their electoral activities. And I'm not saying that they are not the first people there for one. I'm not saying that they're not the first people there for one. Because APC did the same thing, using state resources unduly so for fund their activities then during a political campaign. Basically, you are using the taxpayers' money, you are using the people's money, you're laundering, you are looting the people's money to fund your political activities in the name of Nawidena power. So yes, you are given undue advantage and you take undue advantage and you exercise undue advantage because not that because you get the money, it no matter how you don't thief, you don't loot, you don't plunder. You still they use the small way they inside the coffers from the people, from the taxpayers to go about your political shenanigans. So if you're going to go down that line, at least have the decency. Have the decency for give people them time. Have the decency for give people them time for rally around, for put themselves together, and for compete fairly. Have that decency. Have that decency. If you're going to play in one camp and not be fair and be right in the middle so that everybody can, so that the balance, the scale is well balanced, but that it's not tipped to the other end, have the decency to allow people to manage their mega resources the best way they can. 13 political parties. Out of 13 political parties, how many able scramble in less than the 24 hours notice we want to give them for compete? 1, 2, 3, 4. Out of 13, not even half. Not even 50%. Not even 50%. Not even 50%. 4 out of 13. And you want to call that fairness? Some years back while they do this show, one parking call. I haven't heard from him in a while. He hasn't called the show in a while. And I pray and hope he's doing well. I think na concern either from Washington or from New York. I forgot his name. He used to call religiously. And religiously, you know what? In way call no more. Na in what this? Matilda Momo sell that country. But make we divide that country, more sell that country. Nothing no get for working at that country. And I refuse to believe that nothing no get for working at that country. I refuse to believe that. But when you see gross advantage like this, when you see gross, like deliberate enforcement or deliberate exertion of disparities like this, sometimes I can't help but remember waiting that parking say waking call. People, the phone lines are open. The phone lines are open. If you no get any question, if you no get any comment, you no get any contributions, I want to make una call, I want to make una this. Listen, this is for Sierra Leoneans. If we do not talk to each other, if we not fix ourselves, if we not address ourselves, if we not chastise ourselves, if we not try for set ourselves on the right path, like I don't always say, not to the one that will come on, not to the wait man and go can fix for now. The wait man and self get their own agenda. And if there's anything that you haven't heard from me say, but if there's one thing that you will hear and I want you to speak is that there is a global agenda. And that global agenda does not come from you, it comes from the big five. So the sooner you understand what that global agenda of the big five is and try to tailor or align your priorities, the better it is for you. We are not there yet where we can say, now we set the agenda. For too long, we don't set the agenda. Now we self don't arrive that we can set agendas. The toll-free number is 1-866-944-772. The UK number is plus 4420 80891 455. Australia plus 6129 0984 337. And finally, you get the WhatsApp number winner 1-343-997-5828. Una can call. Una participate. If there's anything baffling your mind, if there's a comment you want to give, or if even me where they are, so there's something I've said that I don't fully understand, where you want to educate me about, and not only me, because by educating me as the host of the show, you're also educating everyone else where they watch. Please do so. But make I go to the press release from Elections Watch Sierra Leone. Make we hear waiting then say, because these are the third estates in our land. Yeah, civil society, the press, these are the third estates. These are the middle brokers. Yeah. Make we hear waiting and see. Woo. Okay, so we get National Electoral Watch, a coalition of civil and non-governmental organizations, press statement for immediate release. And here's what they say. 15th Freetown, 15th June 2023, Ecsl conducts early voting amidst concerns about procedures and compliance with the Public Elections Early Voting Regulation 2023. So this was also not to Matilda Sidonde Jepelondo now. These are institutions which I hope are third-party institution, neutral bodies that have sat together, that have observed what is going on, and now they are saying these are our observations. I'll go wait for you, waiting the international community, waiting their observation get for B about this early voting, how it was conducted, and waiting them perceive. Let me keep on reading. So, it going to say, the Public Elections Early Voting Regulations of 2023, Section 3 provides for applications for early voting and the qualification of early voters. Section 4 provides for an early voters list, conditions for early voting, issuance of the early voters list to political party on request, and issuance of certificates to enable voters to vote. So so now then they lay out and they pull Nado waiting Section 3 and waiting Section 4 of the early voting, waiting a concern. One, then they say the political parties them upon request for don't get the list, where I know for saying as something where some political parties then demand, but they never received. They also say that there should have been guaranteed that, they get the certificate of voting verified, and that, what else? Issuance of certificate and enable voters, and also for allow all the voters then we qualify for the early voting for vote. Now, make we go on for see waiting happen. It says new acknowledges that discussions on early voting for pilgrimage were done at various stakeholders meeting with civil society, political parties, and other international organizations, and that polls would only be limited to the presidential election. So then also they acknowledge, say, also they agree, say, the meeting, the engagement will not take place between the political party, them, the international community observers, the organization um is that what? Is that now the presidential election no more. So for the one the way they go no more for go on for president of the country. Now they no more than go vote for. Also the council because I know for saying 14 and they vote for that day, the 24. Four different units there. Make I not can confuse you now because they all know they are area. I know say parliamentary council, all this, that. But make I not can confuse you now but now four. But out of them four, then they say now one no more night early voting they take place for. And that one then for presidential election. Now I don't tell you now for saying 13 party them. 13 party then and then say that they run for president. Out of them 13 party then they. According to waiting ECSSF pool na the young month. Now four no more nine participates today. Waiting happen to the rest. We not even reach the scale of it 50. Why? Make we continue. It says late notification about early voting. If I talk this why I saw now, I don't already talk am. But since they come out from a third party, not to Matilda, they say again. Because I'm going to say, this speaking also some people like this speaking dry too much. Make not be to say that this dry picking the talk. No. It's not a matter of dry. It's about wanting something better for your land, wanting something better for your nation, wanting your nation to stand tall amongst the rest. Yeah. I hope say that granny no go cry. When you can talk say this people don't begin to talk like way too man now. Okay. Late notification, and I hope also I'm not reading too fast for you guys. It's just I'm used to reading a lot, so sometimes when I read, I go like I read in my head, I know they read for people. So excuse me if I read a bit too fast. And it says late notification about the early voting. Information on the date for the early voting was communicated to the PPLC meeting held in Freetown on 14th June 2023. Less than 24 hours. Now make I tell you something. Let me pull you into a secret. Let me pull you into a secret right now. Una see them thing what they read and so. Unless it is something that has to do with a lot of details. Say like that 20 page statement by Dr. Samora Kamara. Then I would have read it ahead of time before I can at this show. Yeah. Say the manifestos then this. But when I see something like this, 2-pager, 3-pager, even 4-5 pager, if I can at this show, I'll read them to una. Best believe I am reading it. As I am reading it, I am also hearing the words for the first time, just like I am reading it to you and here. Yeah. You self the hear. I know they ever read anything there so ahead of time. Because even me self I can like the shock force we can grip me sometimes they as I they read them. And as me self they understand them, as soon as self they understand them. I like it. So because of that, I don't read them ahead of time to sort of prepare my mind, So let me tell you something. Everything I've said here prior to, without ever reading this document, it come out for me, Matilda, me observation. By just watching different meetings, observing the scenes and everything, it not come off from me reading a single document. Let me just tell you this. So I'm just letting you into this secret for sometimes some people and go feel say, I be don't read them, you know waiting and that make it when they talk to them. No. I had no clue. No clue. If I ever sit down at this place when I say I read 2-3 page documents, even up to 5-page documents, no say as I read them, and so we all define out. Not in all the way I knew that I am now letting you into the know. No, now we'll find out together. Yeah, make we continue. It goes on to say, I'll just wait for a technical to make them bring that section back. Make we continue. Okay. So it goes on to say, okay, down, okay, yeah. So it goes on to say, late notification, either one, not late notification about the early voting. Information on the date of the early voting was communicated at the PPLC meeting held in Freetown on 14th June 2023, less than 24 hours to the commencement of polls on 15th June 2023. It was followed by a press statement by Ecsl dated 13th June 2023. Findings from our observation indicate that some voters were turned away because their names were not on the voters list. It don't begin. In a member, that is why when oppositions raise concern, not to the business of the state, like where the SLPP do to, no, I am sorry, and I know for say some of you can talk for say you na an APC defender or this station or you show it's an FPC. No. You know what? To hell with whatever you people think. Honestly, right now, to hell with whatever you people think in terms of that. Because at the end of the day, there is a nation called Sierra Leone. And if there is a cataclysm, now all can't team up now, they talk, say, where are the media? Where are the people talking? We are talking now. Now is the time to speak, because now is the time for action. Now is the time to speak, because now is the time for action. How can you go pull press something dated the 13th, but you not circulate to the people them concerned, but then at a meeting you go announce something less than 24 hours for make it open. Now that make when oppositions then they raise concern, especially with the voter ID card, the fact that they're not being fully registered. Some people then during the registration, how many hundreds of people were left unregistered, and then the ECSL boss can assure people and say everybody will vote, everybody will have access to it. Has started. This now early voting. Now early voting, and some of the remarks already is saying that some people were turned away because they were not registered. Is it true that they were not registered? Can these people show their slip that say we register, but they not get them at their systems? Because we've seen evidences of that. Now all that thing I also make, some of we not go tire for talk. Because when you push people, and this is a deliberate pushing people to the edge, to the cliff. I go talk him. This not deliberate pushing of people to the edge and to the cliff. Unu left them so. This kind of manipulation and machination, not a born good pikin. Unu left. 5 years ago, I kept saying the same thing. It wasn't as drastic and dramatic as this. But for whatever it was at the time, we not tire, we speak to them. Let us continue. It goes on to say, where was it? Non-clarity on the early voters list. Section 4 of the Section 4 of the Public Elections Early Voting Regulations of 2023 provides for an early voters list. New observed that, and I know say new that the whatever electoral people they wanna say new na the name, the abbreviation of their name, yeah. New observed that early voters list was not exhibited and the number of voters for early voting disaggregated. National Electoral Watch, National Elections Watch 9 and new. So whenever I wanna see the word new, it means National Elections Watch, okay? Okay, so let me go back to what I was reading. So new observed that early voters list was me me technician just the move thing them for me no more right now. Where steady am I go read? Okay, I think it's now stable. New observed that early voter list was not exhibited and the number of voters for early voting disaggregated by district was not available. Best practice dictates that all voters lists should be made public ahead of an elections. I no don talk anaya. I no don talk anaya so gist no. I no don talk anaya so. I say the people the way they vote today, the candidates then the political party them ahead of this quick where both kiddie vote owner, early voting owner don't come put. Did you give them the list? Do they know the names, the number of pilgrims them where qualify according to the disaggregated data for vote? Do they have a number? Can they go and pin a number versus voter turnout? The non-availability of this disaggregated data or the non-availability to this list prior to. If you make this list now, you publish this list afterwards, and a political party or political candidate contest the validity of this list, what would you, ECSL, have to say? Would you say because you have the mandate to conduct elections, therefore, whatever you pull is valid and acceptable? Why una they give cause for make people then doubt the credibility of the institution? Why? All this is unnecessary. Let us keep going. So lack of transparency around the procurement and printing of ballot papers. Another thing we raise again. I raise them again. Like what can they talk then so like I say, I don't read any of this so now how they read and so to now. So myself now they find out, right? Say lack of transparency around the procurement and printing of ballot papers. It goes on to say the ECSL confirms that ballot papers for early votings were printed in Sierra Leone. So now they say the ECSL say the ballot paper then for early voting na Salone then print am, which really contradicts and already the rest of this letter wey contradict wetin dem don say before, wey dem say the electoral ballot papers then are the 17 in the land that we love for be used. Let me go on to say what this one says. They had earlier informed the PPLC meeting that ballot papers printed in South Africa would arrive in Sierra Leone on Sunday, 17th June 2023. This means that ballot papers for the June 2023 elections have been printed in two different countries and potentially by two different companies. New is therefore concerned about the protection, custody, verification, transparency, and accountability around the production of ballot papers printed in two different countries for the same election. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%. How do we verify? How do how when I say we, economics for political party, but how would the political parties verify the authenticity of these papers? When now I don't create two ply system, two-level system. One on a print and a Salone, the other one on a print and a South Africa. What is to say that the one that is coming for South Africa for the bigger from South Africa as stated for the bigger elections? What is to say that you will not mimic those printed now in Sierra Leone to do ballot stuffing? What is to say? Or what is to say the one printed in Sierra Leone for the purposes of the pilgrim or what are early voting, numbers for which you have not made known to the public, neither the political parties? What is to say you will not now trump these numbers up, to do how they call it, for do stuffing? Why do you put your credibility at risk for sake of chicken change? Why would they put your credibility at risk? Because all of these things, they jeopardize the validity, una genuineness to serve the people and not serve a political party. All of these things, they jeopardize, they bring into question, and they bring una into disrepute. Let us continue. Let us continue. More to go. Now, recommendations. Here are the recommendations that New Delhi. They say, recommendations. ECSL makes available information for public consumption on the service providers that printed the ballot papers for the early voting in Sierra Leone and how many ballot papers were printed for the voting exercise. That is one way of verifying. First of all, we need for know Udana the bill of tender, Uda be get this bid. How then go about getting this bid? Almost ballot papers were ordered. How many were printed? How many were delivered? How many of the delivered ballot papers were good, valid? How many were botched? Because just because you go predominantly for say all of the papers them are good. How many were foiled? How many were good? How many ballot papers were contained in each book? How many ballot papers were contained in each book? How many books were distributed to each polling station? How many people voted, the totality of people voted in each polling station? How many ballot papers were remaining? See, all the calculations then they need for they in place. And the only way all of these can be done is when you do things openly, when you do things in a transparent manner. But the way we want to utilize this business right now, it's not auguring well at all. They go on to say, there should be consistency in the management of all electoral processes Thank you. There should be consistency in the management of all electoral processes to increase public trust and confidence. Absolutely. Just like what I don't say. When you put all of these mechanisms in place, when you do affect things in a transparent manner, in an efficient manner, in an effective manner, in a manner that leaves nobody to question anything, then it provide room for make the public get trust in you. Let us go on to page 2, or have we reached page 2 already? There were two, it was a 2-page document, I believe. I'll wait for me, the producer tell me if I reach page 2. Because I don't have my phone with me here for me to confirm. Have we gotten to the end, to the signature page, sir?
Yes, this is page 2.
Okay. So what I just read, the 2 recommendations were on page 2. Is that correct?
Yes. So now
Okay.
you get to the other page.
Pardon me?
So you get two more recommendation on the other page. This is page 2 on the screen.
Okay, yeah. So let's go to the final recommendations. Okay, so the final recommendations. They're going to say ECSL should ensure timely provisions of information for every stage of the electoral process to allow adequate preparation by election stakeholders and effective participation. I'm not going to repeat this again because in the last hour, that is all I have said. Most of what I have said, nine and put so na yaso. For allow people, I say people them get different names. And they get for cut and cut according to their size. And you get for give them time, for do that. You know go pit them at the same not the same level of the current ruling party that is making use of state resources to fund their re-election electoral pursuits. That is a very unfair advantage. They say ECSL should fully comply with all legal provisions as related to early voting. I ask the question. This statement right here, don't tell me for say absolutely, without me going into the different sections them of the different articles and acts them, ECSL definitely not follow to the exact T, to the exact letter, waiting them is supposed for follow. And without even going there clearly, at a glance, you don't even need for know the rules them. At a glance, you can see how they are faltered in so many ways. So again, I ask the question, what game is CCSL up to? Who are they serving? Are they here to serve the Sierra Leonean people? Or are they here to do the bidding of somebody else? Those are some of the questions we should be asking ourselves, and those are the questions each and every Sierra Leonean should ask themselves. I don't care which party they support. I don't care if not the party where they use state coffers, where they use the state money right now for splurge and for get access and for utilize access. But at some point, remember that someone else will be there someday and you will be crying wolf or crying foul. The reason why we need to make these institutions work and they need to get it right is because it shouldn't matter who is there, who is competing. The playing field should be level for all. The playing field must be level for all. You cannot kibosh principles, kibosh rules just to satisfy others, just to satisfy the powers that be. We can't be doing this every 5 years. We cannot afford to do this. It's either we are serious about it or like whether Pabi say, Matilda, make we sell the country. I refuse, like I say, I refuse to go down the route of Matilda, make we sell the country. And we cannot sit down at a place where also we allow state institutions for take on ownership of the work of, independent institutions. ECSL is supposed to be an independent institution. The gathering or town hall today by the SLPP in attempting to address the concerns raised by a political party that is contesting elections, absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. But anyways, like I say, our friend Cherno back there, it don't do me half of me somewhere for me already. And why beat the drum? Why have a duplicate? I don't like for duplicate effort. He's done the work. So now they can tiptoe on and walk. And then that's why I'm acknowledging his work, because what he says, I'm of a similar view of what he's saying. And because I'm of a similar view of what he's saying, I'm now tiptoeing on his work. And they can piggyback on his work, but acknowledging that he did the work, because I haven't done the work. But I can use the work. Make we go to the concerns raised by the APC, wetin we feel say or wetin me feel say are the meat issues. Because remember when I started the show, I say some of these issues raised by the main opposition political parties, some of them are meat, others are milk. Milk, I don't care for. Even though every concern raised by a political party or by a contesting party is a legitimate concern in any elections. In any elections. The only thing is that the onus is upon the institution, and in this case in Sierra Leone, it will be Ecsl, for make sure say they address them concerns that day. But for people to sit there and ignorantly state that why is the SLPP raising concerns at this hour of the game, an opposition party, no forget an opposition party, a contesting candidate, a contesting party can raise issues and concerns of an election right up to the minute of the casting, and even after. So make we not begin, they can play when they play Botskidi with people and intelligence now. So you did the same thing on the day of elections. The SLPP, I remember now, we always sit on na social media, they say release the vote, release the vote. If there is a overstuffing going on, release it. If there is manipulation of machines going on somewhere, show it. We want to see it. We want to this. So if we did that 5 years ago, what makes you think that we're not going to sit here and do the same at this junction? What makes you think you can trump the law? What makes you think you are so big that nobody can checkmate you, or no one can check you? Yeah, una free for go do what una want for do, but let it be said and let it be written and let it be recorded that somebody checked you and checked you rightly so. And so therefore, if you ignore those checking and something else happen, it will also be recorded and there will be evidence to show that somebody draw your attention to that. But you refuse, you play deaf ears. So let us go to waiting the APC, waiting have been some of the concerns, and then we'll go to some other thing. Let's do this quickly. I think we can do it within the period of time that's left. So the other one, sir, not this one, the other one, then this one.
So sorry, I'm not getting downloaded.
Let me see if I can pull it off my phone while we download it.
Well, I'll just play commercial.
Una need for left for the player die with people.
Una do. My name na Vicky Fona. This na election term. And we as believers, we believe say we for pray for the nation of Sierra Leone. I decide for do the song Salone na we own for keep the peace during this election term. I dey beg we all, who they go vote, no we vote with we conscience. No vote because somebody give you money. No vote because this person are your countryman. No vote because this person now all grow up together. Vote for somebody who will come and make a change in this nation. I pray that the peace of God go there upon we all, and the peace of God go there upon this nation. Let God bless you now all as this election term they come. Thank you.
Miss Salone people this na message for we all. No allow anybody for fool you, yeah?
Okay, so while we wait for we technical team for pull this up, the Chairman titled this: the Electoral Commission is obligated to address any concerns raised by any candidates. The Electoral Commission is obligated to address any concerns raised by any candidate. And I will just go through the list. Really, I will just go through the list because I feel say again, another thing, like I tell Una, I have not read this. I've not read a line of this. And whatever else I would read, I have not read a line of it. We all they find out together. And we all they address together. We're all learning together. We're all discovering together. It go on for say, it is important to underline the following brief points, which are part of the real issues that should form the basis of the real conversation on elections. Point number 1. Excuse me, people. Excuse me, I just had dinner before I started the show, so obviously digestion and talking at the same time, they are both fighting together. Excuse me. So let's go. It goes, we must note that one of the presidential candidates, Samura Kamara, has now raised concerns regarding Ecsl impartiality and non-adherence to democratic elections. It's legally compulsory on Ecsl to timely look into the concerns. I be already don't talk that silly. It no matter waiting, even on up to minute and after a minute any candidate gets the legal right for raise concerns and now the duty of Ecsl for address them concerning day. Point number 2. It says Ecsl is legally obligated to listen to concerns raised by any candidate regarding the election process. Candidates need to be satisfied that the laws and rules governing the elections have been followed. Ecsl must create a level playing field for all candidates to freely compete in this election. Now I read them by English, but then tia so na tin we be non talk na Creole and I also be non talk half na English. So uno understand waiting I been the talk. It's just that he has put them in really fine little nuggets, sections. But all of these I've already talked about. Make we go on. They say every concerns raised by any candidate in a given election deserve to be genuinely and timely examined by all democratic organizations. Transparency and integrity are crucial to electoral democracy and they can't be sacrificed. Una remember, I say una make them people here left for play both kiddy and a die. With democracy. Make them left for play both kiddy. As a matter of fact, when I opened the session today, I'm like, this is 5 years. These are people their life. You don't play with people's life, you don't play with people's livelihood. Someone that's going to rule them for 5 years of their lives, their subsistence, living, and everything surrounding their life depends on the leadership of that person. Don't play botkidi with it. Be serious about it. Point number 4, it going to say concerns raised by candidates regarding the conduct of an elections have to be understood as part of the required. Okay, don't lose me. As part of the required actions politicians take to protect votes and voters. A fair electoral process is one that guarantees that votes and voters are protected. Like waiting up in so today with the early voting. I don't tell una the different level in which then they problematic and we can bring calm unsettling feelings for people then. 5. It go on to say candidates have a democratic responsibility to protect the votes of their supporters. Thus, when candidates highlight issues that truly affect the conduct of democratic elections, they are only protecting the potential votes Hey, Mr. Kagwe, you dey move this thing for me. They are only protecting the potential votes of their supporters. Absolutely. Like nada make it be important for make the how they call them, then publish the voters registration, the early voters registration. Nada make it be important for make they announce ahead of time that there's going to be early voting. Now that make it be important for make the announce, make the people they know the polls them, make sure that they go send the observers them at the different polls them, the observers then get the list of the voters them, the numbers, the disaggregated data by region. All of these things is what make democracy work. All of these things put together, now they bring about credibility in things. Six, it goes on to say, we must note that it's right for any candidate in an election to raise concerns relating to the conduct of elections, and those concerns must be addressed. ECSL isn't doing charity. Oh boy. ECSL isn't doing charity in organizing elections. It's obligatory on them to organize democratic elections. Like I say the other day, now they work not to how they can call themselves, not to favor them they do the Salone Sierra Leonean people, not to favor them they do. They are doing their job. That's why they pay them. They are being paid to do this job. They're not doing it for free. That is why when the ECSL boss came out the other day saying that, I they do this work here so, and I they do it for free. I came back and asked the question, sir, are you really sure you are doing this work for free? Are you not being remunerated? Are you not being paid to do this job? Are you really want to convince the Salone people and tell the Salone people in public back or they say you they work for free? When you know for every month done, you they get gratuity, pension, benefits, and bonuses for doing this job? Come on. Let us be serious with it. Number 7, Mada Bio as an incumbent candidate who appointed the Chief Electoral Commissioner has a responsibility to ensure that ECSL conducts a free, fair, peaceful, and transparent election. He has been challenged to do so. To say I want it and your action demonstrating that this is what you want are two different things. That's the reason why a lot of times you'll hear people say action speaks louder than words. It is upon the current government, the ruling regime, to demonstrate in action with their actions. Because what they do today is a complete opposite of demonstrating truthfulness, genuineness, that indeed they want a credible, transparent, peaceful, and fair elections. Number 8. Number 8 goes on to say, President Madabio and the ECSL are obligated to provide the legally required, give me a second, people. The legally required environment that guarantees the conduct of peaceful and democratic elections. It is a constitutional responsibility on the government and the ECSL to provide the required peaceful environment that guarantees the conduct of democratic elections. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The onus, yes, the other political parties, the other contesting political parties, yes, the onus also falls on them, but it falls more heavily on the ruling government and the ECSL, the Electoral Commission, for guarantee say, for ensure say, elections are conducted in a peaceful, fair, free atmosphere. Number 9, all democratic organizations involved in monitoring the election process must encourage the Bada-Bio administration and ECSL to fulfill their constitutional obligations to conduct democratic elections. And from my corner, I know that they have been doing that. I know that international organizations have been doing that. I know that international governments have been doing that. As to whether they are making gains, it is yet to be seen. As to whether they made gains, it is yet to be seen. And lastly, I believe that was 10. Democratic organizations and Friends of Sierra Leone should continue impressing upon political leaders and election management institutions the need to hold truly democratic elections. Democracies are built through consistent negotiations. Absolutely. I don't talk an answer from thy kingdom come to thy kingdom come. You do not know it all. You cannot manipulate it all. You cannot hold it whole. You have to collaborate. You have to meet people in the middle. Negotiations, negotiations, negotiations. That's why they have mediators. The people of Sierra Leone must be able to exercise their constitutional rights to democratically elect their representatives in a free, fair, peaceful, and transparent environment. No one should seek to take that right away from them. Absolutely no one should seek to take that right away from them. That is the one right they are guaranteed when all else fail. Free citizen. Free citizen. Remember, Sierra Leoneans are not the property of the state. The only time a person becomes the property of the state is when you are in prison. When you are in prison, you are the property of the state. Even so, there are laws, there are rules surrounding. Even so, there are laws, there are rules surrounding that. So it is not a complete ownership. Allow the people be, allow the people speak their mind. If you've done your job, on a playing field, equal playing field, they will let you know. If you haven't done your job, they will let you know. Now, make we move on to the SLPP. A summary of waiting come out on the SLPP side today as well.
So now SLPP again? I mean, you say PC.
No, SLPP. Now we just saw the APC summary, the summary of that thing. Now the SLPP one. The SLPP one, it says SLPP and Bada-Bio are not spokesperson for the Electoral Commission. You don't see her? Okay, yeah, that's what. So now let's go to what happened today. I've been on telling her, say, what happened today at the Spicer as a Sierra Leonean, as somebody who don't monitor elections, as somebody who don't work na election polling stations na this country where they so, as somebody who have been chosen on several occasions for go monitor elections overseas. What happened today at the Spicer? Absolutely, I cannot say as a Sierra Leonean I can put my hand up and say yeah. No. When things are wrong, make we learn for call them wrong. When things are right, make we learn for say they are right. Just because you are at the seats of power does not give you monopoly over everything. And yet, with the cry say we nations, they're not they develop, we countries, they're not they develop. They are not developing because we allow things like this to happen. Because even when we don't kanaya, so we don't see, we don't learn, or even when we day under, we are advancing, sometimes we stoop so low. We act as though we lost the, I mean, let Ghanaian say you don't lost your thinking cap. Act like we say we lost your thinking cap then. What's happened today? The conduct of the SLPP today, in terms of addressing another political opponent then concern, where they not address them to you, they address them to an institution. But you feel because you're in governance, you have the right, you have the mandate to take on the job of a neutral, of an institution that is supposed to be neutral. It vexes me bad. It vexes me. This is not anything called advantage. And you say when somebody they seize advantage, that was a complete display of that advantage. Let us go and let us read again. I take this summary or summation from a very brilliant journalist, someone I like to read on always when I have time, because it can get away where it can put certain things then. And sometimes it's funny, I would have finished my narration, like where I should say right now, if I can't read again, I should say most of it you don't talk about Naya. So again, I'm seeing it for the first time as we are seeing it. I've not read this, but I'm pretty sure. They say great minds think alike. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a colluding somewhere in there. I think there's going to be a colluding somewhere in there. It says the SLPP and Mada Bio are not spokesperson for the Electoral Commission. Just a few points need to be made clear, and here are those points. Point number one, we go. By their own statements, we now know that the SLPP and its presidential candidate, Julius Maada Bio, are comfortable with ECSL's operation. So, let them allow ECSL to address the concerns of the other candidates and parties. Number two, the SLPP and Maada Bio, as incumbent party candidates, can complain about electoral malpractices, but the SLPP can't respond to accusations against the ECSL and on ECSL's behalf. Being an incumbent doesn't make SLPP spokesperson for ECSL. I've been talking. I've been watching that press conference day. It wasn't even a press conference. I should call it a town hall, because it was, the format had been like a town hall format. And as I watched it, I sit down there. They say to me, "Am I actually seeing this?" To a point where I even at one point said, "This is absolute nonsense." I said it. I said, "This is absolute nonsense. Make our capas." So as a matter of fact, I don't even finish, because until and the way for allow your mind and everything you've come to know and everything you know, allow you being for the part of. It is not right. It is not right. I had to walk away. I had to say, no. This is not right. Maybe if you to say that something about the party, the elections, the places. And within minutes into the business, I realized that no, this was a rebuttal of your opponent's, how they call them, concern. How did we get to this space? And why the ECSL chairman still sit down and not even rebut this action and say, no, this is not your place. Let us continue. Let us continue. Number three. The SLPP and its presidential candidates can't use the power of incumbency to shield ECSL from scrutiny by other candidates and parties to the election. The SLPP must allow ECSL a free hand to respond to its own operational questions. By defending the ECSL and trying to shield ECSL from scrutiny by other candidates, the SLPP as a government party is implicitly justifying accusations that ECSL isn't independent. ECSL has to show that its independence and fair. I don't need for break and down because I don't talk about this already. Number 5, the SLPP must know every candidate and every political party has the right to raise questions regarding the conduct of the electoral process. These concerns can't be criminalized, but they have to be legitimately addressed. The test is now fully open, ECSL. Something we also see. How you treat this, how you move from here, determines whether people should take you as a credible institution, as a fair, equitable, balanced institution, or as one that would lead people to ask the question, is ECSL serving the people, or are they serving a person or a symbol? 6, Madabio and the SLPP must be encouraged to understand that the privilege of incumbency doesn't guarantee them a license to dictate how elections are to be conducted. They can't prevent citizens from scrutinizing ECSL's operation. My open statement, I said this. Mohamed Kone and ECSL are obligated to respond to every concern raised by any candidate or party. It's their responsibility to do so. Again, the incumbent party and their candidates have to allow ECSL to operate freely and daily. The world is waiting and watching. Indeed, the world is waiting and the world is watching. The world is waiting and the world is watching. 7 days, 23 hours, and 26 minutes to Sierra Leone vote 2023, elections 24th June 2023, 7 days, 23 hours, 26 minutes. Again, I ask the question, what game is ECSL playing? Is ECSL serving the nation, the people of Sierra Leone? Or are they there for the beck and call, for the jump and to say how I, for a symbol? Can we trust ECSL at this junction? Party politics aside, can we trust ECSL at this junction to run a free, credible, transparent elections in Sierra Leone come June 24th, 2023? Have they proven their credibility? Have they proven their trustworthiness? When we think about this, all of the reasons I've laid today, all of the things that I've read, all of the questions asked, when we think about them, is it fair to Sierra Leoneans? Is it fair to the nation? Is it fair to our unborn? Is it fair to our elderlies? Is it fair to the children coming up? Is it fair to us? For anywhere you happen to find yourself around the world, and on that passport it is written, nationality, Sierra Leonean, ask yourself, is it fair? May God bless you all. May God bless Mama Salone. Until we meet again, Saturday by God in power. Anything wanna defend at this world, any how wanna day, may God put in hand, may God put in blessing. Ono tata.
Now election time don't come back, oh. This na the time for make we sit down and think wise. Make we remember say, if we vote wrongly, now we all go suffer. And make we put Salone first. This message they come on from Hope for Youth Salone, Makeni chapter.
I'm forcing me country, fever like a paradise, paradise. I'm forcing me country, all my daily every day I be like, I want to go make this one I go come to reality. And when I go vote, the votes not me right, the votes not me like. I no go do the thing we go make a loss be like. I go vote, but I no go fence. I go vote, I go tell all the people them say I go